Hi, I'm Bernie McLaughlin, CEO at Master Electricians. So for the third quarter of this year, I thought I'd bring to you some data that we've got from Infometrics. Interestingly, even with all the COVID downturn, the prediction was for economic activity to trend down slightly and then take a sharp dive. What's actually happened is we've had a slight rise, and the economists are revising these figures pretty much weekly, and scaled back just how deep our drop's supposed to be for economic activity. With the electrical sector in particular, we've had a strong bounce back. So we've had we're looking at 2 years of negative jobs coming up, but after that we're looking at heading towards our 2015-2016 levels of economic activity and employment. So in the construction sector, our dip off and our trough will come. However, it just seems that the longer we stave off this drop and we continue to go up slightly, the economists keep scaling us back up and the drop won't be quite as bad. Now, this is not a credit crunch like it was in the GFC. Okay, although it's not a credit crunch, the banks are still very, very reluctant to lend over the 80% LVR threshold, and they're keeping a very, very close eye on commercial portfolios. So the lending in the commercial sector is one of the things that's impacting the pipeline gap that's expected to come. When we're looking on the residential side, house prices have had a little bit of a gain. They were actually predicted to stay where they are, but they've had a little bit of a gain, and now they're starting to peter off. So it's the first part of the economy that's actually starting to go in a negative. So it could be that the economists are right and we're starting to head down into this trough. Now we're looking forward into the pipeline for commercial, and that's our biggest concern. So we've got some issues with an election year where we have historically low business confidence, and combine that with the banking sector keeping a very, very close eye on the commercial market. It's all heading towards some potential drops, reasonably significant drops in confidence over the next 4, 6, 8 months. One of the other things that's probably keeping us above the waterline is the international dollar spend that's now not being spent overseas. It seems to have kept the New Zealand economy thriving and going slightly against the grain of what the economists have predicted. The only issue is that the overseas dollar spend and the government subsidies aren't going to last forever. They're going to drop off in the very near future, and that's when the economists are predicting that we're actually going to start to see this trend head down into the trough that we're heading to. Now, from a Master Electrician's perspective, we're working pretty hard with some other organisations to create some standard operating procedures for operating a construction site in level 3. Now, it's going to be pretty important that if the rest of the country or larger parts of the country drop into level 3, we are going to have to comply with the security level requirements. As soon as construction is seen to not comply with these level 3 requirements, construction will be axed. We won't be allowed to work. So we're going to have to be very, very careful that once these standard operating procedures are put in place, that we all abide by them, or we'll find ourselves in a very, very bad situation. So all companies need to have these systems ready to roll out. We will have these systems in place over the next few weeks. We'll make sure that all of our membership has them and they're ready to roll them out should we drop into security level 3, which I certainly hope we don't. Now, we're seeing a massive upsurge in member inquiries. We had about 78 new member inquiries over the COVID period, and we're continuing to trend up with our highest number of membership inquiries over the last few weeks. And this is simply because the amount of reliable information that we've pushed out into our network and into the wider community, electrical community. One of the things that has been seriously impacted for us is our apprenticeship challenge. We had axed it because it was going to run about this time in the year. Then we had some great engagement with our sponsors who wanted to continue to see this grassroots events run. So we looked at putting it back on for the September-October period for this year, but unfortunately we've had to make a call now to completely call off the competition, just simply because we're just unknown as to which parts of the country are actually going to be able to attend this event. It's the first time that we haven't been able to run the event in 19 years, so in 20 years in fact, so we're pretty disappointed, but it's one of those casualties of the COVID era. We've got some great information that we're rolling out through our podcast series at the moment. I strongly urge anyone to jump online, have a look at our podcasts, which are updated weekly. There's some great information on there. We've got some information from some of our members, how they're getting through the pressures of COVID and post-COVID. And we've got some great informational podcasts on there as well, just for the general electrical industry. Jump on, have a look, and I'll see you for our next CEO update next quarter.